Bridget, did you know that you have rights? The Constitution says you do, and so do I. I believe until proven otherwise, every man, woman, and child should hear this podcast, and that's why we talk to you, Internet. Better squawk Saul.
I think the first thing we should talk about in this episode is the fact that it was directed by Ray Seahorn.
Woo! Whoop, whoop. Girls get it done.
Yes, she did an amazing job. I would never have known it wasn't one of the regular directors doing it.
She received a lot of accolades online, too. I don't know if you saw. So many other actors were so impressed with the work she had done, so that was really incredible.
Can we finally get this woman an award?
Right, an Emmy. I mean, it just blows my mind that she's never even been nominated. I thought for sure after season 4, after her blow up with Howard over Jimmy, I thought for sure she would get nominated for that. She didn't get nominated for Lalo, for going off on Lalo. How did that happen?
Insanity.
Where's the Price is Wrong sound?
Oh, that was pretty good.
We've had practice.
The opener, our lovely couple riding the bikes through the neighborhood.
Yes.
I kind of saw that as almost like Jimmy and Kim. There's this juxtaposition between these people doing everyday mundane stuff they do every day, and then they go into their home and there's people with guns and they're surveilling. It kind of also makes you wonder, how long has this been going on that these people are just so absolutely used to and oblivious to this? And I have to think that with the construction of that massive tunnel and everything, that this has to be something that was set up long before the Lalo situation, because we know it hasn't been that long since Lalo disappeared or died. I mean, what has
2
it been?
weeks,
Maybe
apparently.
a week at the yeah. So, I mean, I doubt seriously they built that tunnel and had all that set up within 2 weeks, and those people are so used to it. So this must be something that's been ongoing for quite a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
He probably had it set up in case of the feds wanted to kind of monitor him or something like that. Like they had the decoy in and everything like that. So
Yeah, I feel like Gus is just that paranoid too. Yes, the FBI and Lalo and any of the Salamancas or any unknown enemies that he doesn't even know about either. Like once I found out it was Gus spying on himself, I'm like, that actually makes so much sense. I would want to spy on myself too, right? Because then I have people watching and they can see if someone is breaking into my house while I'm at work, or if somebody plants something in my backyard, or you know what I mean? So I thought it was genius.
I just hope that one day I have
something
enough
bad.
money to have a secret tunnel in my house.
Right? And a body double.
That's what I want. Those are my life goals.
he's
A
too good
secret
looking.
tunnel and a slide that goes from the second story down. But anyway.
Can I just get this
Yes.
one thing out of the way? Because I didn't recognize the couple from the beginning at the end where they reveal the tunnel. So I'm thinking, I'm having a Bridget / Rachel moment where it's like, oh my God, is this like meth R&D? Because it's puzzles, right? And
my God.
it's just like Gustavo Fring to do meth R&D to make sure these guys aren't tweaking too hard on his product, right? Because this is what I'm thinking as he's this whole room has puzzles. Oh my goodness. And board games to keep these meth R&D test subjects occupied. And wow. But here's the thing. I might not even be wrong. Maybe that's how this all works. These are well-functioning meth addicts, going about their lives. And it would be typical of Fring, high-class meth.
Dave, I'm going to stop you right there. That's not a real thing. I'm sorry. Math addicts?
He's
They're
okay.
not.
He's okay. He's put a Band-Aid on it.
He's okay.
There's mine of the week, okay? Just leave me alone.
You get one. There it is.
And never again.
Till next week.
The other thing I thought was funny was they're riding through the neighborhood and they're dissing the red house. How will the HOA let that happen? And meanwhile, they've got armed guards and drug dealers staking out in their house.
Yeah. What would the homeowners association think of that?
Yeah. Let me put a word in Barb's ear and see what happens.
Put a bug in a bug monitoring. Let me ask you a question. Did you get the distinct feeling? I'm not 100% certain because I didn't watch it. I didn't watch the first episode again, but I was like, oh, that's like Jimmy and Kim or Jimmy Saul Goodman's house for a second, like a hot second. I'm like, could that have been it?
The one they were watching?
The red
house. Yeah.
No.
Oh, the red house.
I don't think so. I don't think that's... You talking about Saul's house at the beginning?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, I thought I was like maybe, but then I looked at it and it doesn't look anything like his house at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't the same house, but the thought did cross my mind. That's tacky enough that Jimmy would like that.
Right,
Yeah, it's
right.
like some sort of like the house
I
itself in the
actually-
first episode was a Easter egg for that. I don't know, whatever.
I actually thought it was positioned on the lot very similar to how Chuck's house was. So I thought for a second like somebody was like rebuilding and repainting Chuck's house. But
Could it
obviously
have
that's
been
not-
Chuck's house?
I don't think so.
No, Chuck's house was burned down.
Okay. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, you know, it's
Yeah.
been some time, right?
They should have
I don't
gone
know.
with Adobe Red and not fire truck engine red.
Not tomato.
Or
red.
tomato red.
I'm gonna talk to Barb.
So that couple, the Rymans, they're married in real life. They're a real life couple.
Oh,
It's so
Nice.
cute. That is so cute.
And the song that was playing while they're riding through the neighborhood is a song by the Dreamliners, and they were one of the first integrated bands in the 1960s.
oh.
Oh wow, that's a
You know,
cool
I looked that up
Wow.
too, and I did not find that. That's cool.
I got that from the Insider podcast. That was not me.
Oh, credit where credit is due. I wanted to say something else though. They mentioned the Westlakes in their conversation in the kitchen. Westlake is a reference to Breaking Bad. Westlake High School, right?
Oh, okay.
Isn't that cool? I was like, oh, on a lark, I was like, Westlake, Breaking Bad. Burr, 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 burr. Oh, hey.
I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of those things as we
you're
get towards the
probably
end of the
right.
season.
Technically, we had 3 Breaking Bad cameos in this episode. Okay, so also on the Insider podcast, they talked about how they filmed the interior and exterior of Gus's house and the other house. So the exterior and the upper floors of both houses are real. They are the actual exterior and interior of the houses. The basements and the tunnel, of course, are a set. But they built it so they could do the shot where they go through the tunnel and everything. So they actually built on the soundstage the 2 basements with the tunnel that goes in between it. And they were like talking about how it was shaped so strangely because they built it to the actual shape of the path that he was taking in it.
I wanted to pay attention, and maybe you did. Maybe you can tell me. Obviously, we can say the Rymans are like his neighbors, but do we think that they're living beside him, or like could they live behind him? Did the tunnel go like?
They specified on the Insider podcast that they were next door.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So,
okay.
okay.
I know.
Just
I
from
assumed
the
they-
angle that it was like shot at, I thought they were like across the street for some
That's
reason.
what I thought too.
Right.
Yeah.
It was hard to tell which direction he was walking. Right.
Or left.
Or left. Yeah.
Did you notice how irritated Gus seemed to have to be wearing the bulletproof vest and the ankle holster?
I did notice he fidgeted with the ankle holster. I didn't notice so much with the vest.
Same.
I don't know. I guess I thought Gus, being who he is,
He's
he
always
probably
wearing
should
that.
be wearing a vest. Yeah, he should always have a vest. But I did notice him kind of fidget with the ankle holster, like tucking the butt of the gun up and then taking it off, like, and then So I did notice that.
I guess, I didn't notice frustration, but there was a very specific look on his face when he is undressing and he's like adjusting the bulletproof vest. He does kind of just like stop and sigh for a second. Like, this is my
Like,
life now.
Well, he chose it.
Yeah.
It's kind of consistent with his orderliness and like almost obsessive compulsive tendencies. Everything has to have a system. And so this was outside of his system, or at least the ankle holster might have been. So that alone irritates him. So it might not be that he's even paranoid necessarily, but just this one thing that's outside his routine just annoys him to fuck.
Oh, I think he's
I agree with
definitely
that.
paranoid.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just kidding. God, don't take me so seriously.
It's hard to tell when
Adjusting
I
the
can't see your
shirts.
face.
But down to him adjusting the shirts. Is the shirt placed?
Oh.
So that was
Yeah.
the giveaway for me. It was like, okay, this is outside his routine. He's not comfortable.
So similar to Kim when she's waiting for Cliff at lunch and she's adjusting the menus and adjusting
Her
where she's
seats.
sitting and where she's sitting and moving the menus around. To which, and am I in the right? Is this the best way for Cliff
you
to see
see?
what's going to happen? And it was just another expression of expression of how what a perfectionist she is too.
Right. And how.
And even the
wait,
way she sets the phone down under the table, like right
Right.
next to the post. I know where it is. It's right. Yeah. Yeah. Everything just so.
Just another example of the wicked flee when no man pursueth.
You think we're wicked?
We'll get back to that, I suppose.
Dadoy.
She was very genuine. I don't want to jump ahead, but she was genuine.
She couldn't hide it.
Gus is paranoid because of Lalo, of course. We haven't seen Lalo since the first episode of the season. I feel like Lalo is going to Germany to look either for Werner's men or maybe to find Werner's wife. But I think that's where he is because he can't go back to the U.S. He can't. They're after him there. And he can't stay in Mexico because everybody thinks he's dead. That would be the perfect way to be found out. And he wants to find proof. And the only proof I could think of is going to Germany.
Who was the little shit?
There was the one who kept getting, like, instigating stuff.
The mouthy one.
Kai.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think out of all of them, he might be the one to... Well, I don't know. The big guy was pretty pissed, too. I don't remember his name. The really big, tall one.
Kai might be afraid to talk because he's afraid Mike will come and kill him.
That's yeah. But
valid.
I don't know. I mean, Lalo's intimidating too, though, and charming. He might even be able to win him over with charm.
He might use the carrot opposed to the stick.
But when the carrot doesn't work,
can you think of any other theory of where Lalo might be?
If he's not able to get to Jimmy, which would be like his other option for like proof, I don't see where else he could go. That makes a ton of sense to me. I'd be surprised if they went a different route with that.
Well, I thought it was Nacho, so I'm wrong.
Okay, you and I will live in the world where Nacho lives.
Right? Yeah. Nacho's still alive in Gus's basement in a secret room, and they're just hiding him till
he's just down there doing puzzles.
It was all fake.
Yeah, he's just doing puzzles.
Yeah. He's doing puzzles, testing out the meth.
Right, testing out the in case you missed it, watch the reaction video from our immediate thoughts. always entertaining.
Yeah, that's why you got to watch everything.
Do you guys have anything else you want to say about the Gus Lalo end of the storyline?
I honestly hadn't thought of it really.
That's because all we want to talk about is Kim and Jimmy and Howard.
Right. I know. I don't even want to think of. I don't even want to think of theories for Gus and Lalo though. Like I just want to sit back and see where this goes. Lalo doesn't make it to Breaking Bad, does he?
Mm-hmm. He's mentioned.
No.
He's mentioned. He's mentioned in the same
like
scene
in past
that they
tense?
mentioned. He's mentioned in the same scene where Nacho is mentioned by Saul Goodman out in the desert when Walt and Jesse kidnap him. They have a hood on him and they have masks on, and he's like, "It wasn't me. It was Ignacio," and that's Nacho, of course. And then a couple of seconds later, they're like, "We're not from the cartel," and he's like, "Lalo didn't send you," so.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. That sounds very
from that what you will.
So
yeah.
maybe
from that what you will.
Yeah, that does still sound very
Lalo
much.
Could be.
Oh man, I hope Lalo doesn't find Gene.
That would be frustrating as hell.
Well, here's the thing, though.
Hate that asshole.
The Salamancas are super prominent in Breaking Bad, and I can't see that with all the shit that was going on that Lalo isn't. And they're taking care of Salamanca business, unless he's far away somewhere.
Unless he
else.
has to stay out of, so he can't get extradited. What if he's in like Russia or wherever?
Maybe he's still in Germany.
And that's kind of like an interesting point because if you think about it, if they leave Lalo out of everything, and he somehow makes it out of the series scot-free, this is a good setup for future series. Like Abraham Ford says. Loose ends make my ass itch. So we got to scratch that itch,
I mean, I know they keep talking about doing prequels, but these people are getting older and older. So it's only going to be believable for so long.
I would be fine with a sequel at this point. That would be really cool.
Because there's been talks about doing a Gus prequel even to this.
They talked about a Kim Wexler spinoff too, but it would be a prequel too, probably.
Well, hopefully they won't announce it before the end of the series, and then we can enjoy it in peace, like we're meant to.
Maybe Kim and Lalo. I don't know.
I think there's a little. It's a little bit like everybody's talking about the Breaking Bad universe is going to kind of do like the Walking Dead universe and have spin-offs and branch out, but there's a lot more room to branch out with a zombie story than there is with a drug cartel story. What are we gonna? Are the spin-offs just going to be about drug dealer? And I don't mean the prequels, but if they just do spin-offs like Tales, it's gonna be like Tales of Breaking Bad, and they're just gonna have various drug dealer tales. I don't know. I just don't feel like that would be as viable.
I'm running to my PayPal now.
Bring back Arlo.
No, fuck Arlo. Bring back Nacho. I want a Nacho prequel.
Who do I give my coffees to? What?
Howard pulls up to the psychiatrist's office.
God.
and
Oh God.
Listening to
God.
horrible music.
This horrible music he's listening to.
Excuse me. The great.
It's
No.
terrible. Sorry.
Blah.
For shame.
The blah.
I love how when he walks into the office and he sits down and he's like unbuttons his top button. Like he's relaxed now. I undid my top button. I'm all relaxed and ready to talk, you know.
With this fabric tie.
Look at me. Look at me. It's Casual Friday.
But so the super interesting part of this was talking about his wife, apparently. They didn't specify that.
Yeah.
Cheryl, was it?
Because Cheryl, because he's never a wife or spouse or significant other or anything has never been mentioned for Howard. And to be honest, I never noticed a ring until this episode. I'm sure it was there before, but I never noticed it.
Now I want to go back and look at past
Right,
episodes just to
right.
see if he's wearing a ring.
Because until now, like, for the most part, Howard's just been this, like, Manichean type of character. He's just been all face, no substance. For the most part, I just don't see depth to the character until finally this one moment where we say, oh, he has a third dimension to him, and that's his home life. And so you could easily accuse the show of not giving him any character development until now. Not really.
No, I mean, all we really knew about Howard was he was a lawyer.
He
And
was like an NPC
he's a lawyer.
until now.
I think with Howard, he has this public face where everything is hunky-dory and everything's fine and there's no problems at his home. Like, he's not going to come into work and talk about his home life problems. And as opposed to Chuck, who would come in and fucking talk about them all day long and tell all about his problems and everything. But he never asked Howard, how's things at home? You know, like, I think that's part of it too. No one ever asks Howard. But I think that's part of his facade. He's going to have a facade that he's going to put out, and he's not going to talk about those kind of down things, which is why he goes to psychiatrists. So we can finally let it out and talk to somebody about it.
Or maybe that's like really him though, too, which is really depressing. Maybe everything that we see about Howard is really him. And like the only character that he even has is the thing at home, is his issues at home. That's where that's where he actually lives. Well, his marital situation.
I thought you were referring to Cheryl. Thing at home.
That thing at home.
the wildebeest.
Damn
living
thing.
in his
I don't even
house.
know what she looks like.
I mean, if it's even his wife, it could be a daughter. It could be his fucking maid. They don't specify.
Could be even a story
It is.
too.
His maid.
His
I had
dog.
to go to my therapist because my maid is bullying me.
She won't talk about anything important.
Like what kind of cleaning supplies she uses. I need to know these things. I have
my goodness.
allergies.
If it comes out that he has marital problems, then his dallying with the prostitutes looks even more likely, correct? So
Authentic.
I'm thinking they might have told us this about Cheryl because it may come out through Jimmy and Kim that he has marital problems in that way. That's why he's out partying, or his partying is the cause of his marital problems, you know?
Or Cheryl could be the problem too. If in fact
You leave
Cheryl,
Cheryl alone. Cheryl,
Yeah, what's your
angel.
beef with Cheryl?
just think about
She
it.
didn't
though.
throw bowling balls through his car.
Cheryl didn't do nothing to nobody. Poor Cheryl. Angel baby Cheryl.
Oh my god. So, but here's why I bring that up, because we always want to think that Howard is like the bad guy, but like this is like the first time in ever that I've ever actually felt bad for Howard for just a second, and I was thinking to myself, but no, he's the bad guy. But then I thought, okay, Dave, flip the script. What if he's actually kind of a good guy, and she's the one with that was philandering on him? And like he's trying to give it a second chance, that sort of thing. So that's what I'm thinking. Like, give it to Breaking Bad / Better Call Saul, that universe, to kind of flip the script on us. Like, who is the evil one? Who is the good one?
Oh, you mean kind of like
do-
they've done with Jimmy and Kim?
Everything.
Completely flipped it. Yeah. I want to say, I don't think Howard's a bad guy. I just think he's an asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
So the suit that Jimmy was wearing was from episode 104, Hero, when he did the billboard, the JMM billboard.
Oh, it's when he went and he was like, I'd like it in this fabric. And
And the tie.
Right.
Special
And then,
woven tie.
Well, yeah, and the mother of pearl studs.
Yeah, what did he
Right.
say? Like, don't chintz
Right.
out. Like,
Right. So in that episode, he went to Mrs. Nguyen and had them do his hair with the ringlets and the bleaching
yes,
on top.
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
He didn't quite go that far this time. He sprung for the wig instead. Like, I literally laughed out loud when he was walking, when they showed him face on, walking down the street with the spray tan. And
It was so good. It was so
And
good.
the like clear line down his neck where there's spray tan and then normal skin. It was so bad.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Oh my god, it was phenomenal. Like it was.
And yet it was perfect.
Epically
right?
bad. Yes.
Down to the
Yes.
eyebrows, right? They lightened his eyebrows a little too.
Which is funny because when the thing actually happens, all you see is the back of his head. So do his eyebrows really matter?
He committed to
Yeah.
that part. He was like, "No, if I'm gonna be Howard, I'm gonna be Howard."
I mean, especially since he's only going to be seen from a distance. And okay, so Wendy is our first Breaking Bad cameo, and that kind of puts to rest the Wendy is Kim, Kim is Wendy theory.
Thank God.
How many people ever came up with
Yikes.
that? Thank goodness. I also noticed that Kim is wearing a very Lalo-esque blouse. Very flowery, very busy. And, normally she's very staid in her
Muted.
colors, blue, white. Yeah, like you said, Dave, very muted, very understated in her clothing.
Better
But when
word.
she goes to meet Cliff, she's wearing this flowery, busy shirt that very much looks like something Lalo would wear.
Well, that's interesting that she would put on like a uniform to like do bad. She'd be like, "Well, Jimmy wears really loud stuff, and Lala wore like a lot of flowers. I'm gonna find my like bad uniform."
My bad uniform. Her villainous outfit. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when I saw her in that shirt sitting at the table, it looked very familiar. And I have this image in my head of her. I thought she had it on after her car accident when her arm was. I have this picture in my head of her wearing that shirt and her arm slung up.
I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
Or something similar.
The shirt that she's wearing is what they used in all the promos. So we've been seeing it for about 6 months now. So it might be where you saw it.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm not sure. I
No,
would go back
find
and
the
we
shirt
can
I'm
go back
looking
and
for.
watch. So what did you guys think of the whole when Kim and Cliff are sitting at the lunch and Jimmy comes by? What did you guys think of that whole scene?
Just like perfect execution.
It was incredible.
I thought the fishtailing out into the intersection and then like it was like a little over the top.
No, they
I'm
needed
like,
him to look.
Isn't shoving the hooker out of your car and being like, "What the fuck, you motherfucker? Don't you owe me my..." Like, isn't you don't
get to
when
do
he
this
made
to
a big
me.
enough scene? But yeah, he's like, "Arr!" He's like he peeled out immediately when Kim said go, and I'm like, oh, he's going like, oh, okay, all right.
Well,
was hilarious.
driving a Suzuki Esteem gives you a lot of practice at handling a Jaguar.
Yes.
It reminded me a lot of that first season with the skateboard kids. You remember when they set up that thing where like they were gonna scam that lady and she was gonna hit the kid and then he was gonna come out and be like, "Don't say anything, I'm a lawyer. Hi, I'm Saul."
Or hi, I'm Howard. I mean,
Sorry.
that's what he's going
Okay,
for.
so that reminded me a lot of that. So I liked that it was kind of like a callback to these like pre-planning these like schemes. I mean, the execution was phenomenal. I kind of wanted you to be able to see like a little bit of the like, but no, you literally just see the hair in the car and that's it. So
Yep.
he went overboard for absolutely no reason.
Jimmy's very method.
Clearly.
I love that at the end, when she's sure that Cliff has bought it, she can barely keep from smiling. Like she's just like, like she just cannot stand it.
I know.
Seriously, Ray Seahorn needs all the awards, all of them.
So good. So Cliff seemed to go for her pro bono pitch, whatever. Do you think that she will ultimately try to call off the con in favor of taking Cliff's offer?
Funny you should say that, because I looked a couple things up from this episode before we continue. The motel that Kim drops off Wendy, is called the Crossroads Motel. But wait, there's more. The restaurant is called the El Camino Dining Room. El Camino means path. So that I thought that was
The road.
also cool.
Do you think that she might drop the con in favor of Cliff's offer?
No, I don't think she will. I think Kim likes being bad.
I think it really gets her
Gets her engine revving.
her juices flowing, to put it crassly, I guess. So
I didn't think you would go there. I'm kind of proud of you. All right. She said it, not me.
yeah, I did. Don't I always say inappropriate shit? Yeah, it's hard to say because she finally got what she wanted, so she doesn't really need to go through with it now. But I feel like that will be the internal conflict for her. I still kind of want to do this even though I already got what I wanted. Mm-hmm. So
Well, up until now, we've seen Jimmy is kind of, I don't know, do I really want to do this? I don't, and Kim is all gung ho for it. But what if they, as they're famous for doing, flip the script? And now Jimmy is the one that's gung ho for it, and Kim is the one that's like, I don't really know if I want to do this. Because if you notice on the way after they're done and everything, Jimmy's in the car and he's got the music going and he's smiling and happy until he gets there and the cone is in the way. But I feel like maybe this has kind of booted Jimmy into the position where he's excited to be doing it, and now Kim may be on the other side of that.
Yeah, could be. Ultimately, that's not going to play out very well because we all know Kim wears the pants.
but he'll suffer the consequences if it's against
Yeah.
Kim's wishes.
That's right. Might be his downfall to go against Kimmy.
If they keep being at odds with each other, well, where they're not entirely on each other's page, that might be detrimental to the relationship eventually, which may be why she's not with him at the end.
The last time we saw them kind of running into trouble like that, they got married. So it's like hard to say.
What are they gonna do now? They're gonna have a baby.
Let's have a baby. Let's have a baby.
Yeah. Things are going really bad right now. I think we should have a baby.
For legal purposes. For legal purposes.
Yes.
It's
for
a tax write-off.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a perfect con. Ooh, what?
Yep.
But you know what? You ask a really good question because when Mike is speaking to her at the end, he continuously refers to them as your husband, your husband. That really kind of got in my head. And it says more about Mike, but then it made me think, why did that make her feel more nervous? And then, like you said in the reaction video, at the end, she does what Jimmy does in the last season, which is not tell Kim the truth, the God's honest truth. So obviously there's a role reversal and we're at a crossroads, and Kim can either fess up and they can go all in on their schemes, or she can not tell him and move on to greener pastures. So I don't know. It's a really good question. My feeling is that they're going to leave, that she's going to leave Jimmy in the lurch, and then he has already got the taste again of the con, and he's just going to keep leaning in because, as we've seen in the courthouse, that's his new life now, that he's chosen the Salamancas, or chosen to be Salamanca's guy at this point. And we know Breaking Bad.
He was so upset that nobody would talk to him in the courthouse. Like I felt like he was like the little boy at the lunchroom all by himself. Nobody would sit with him, he's just being shunned. But then there's all these people that aren't shunning him, that love him. And I mean, we know Jimmy wants to be loved. He wants to be accepted. And if he can't get acceptance from the courthouse and the people there, then he'll get it from his clients, regardless of who they are.
Spooge. Sorry.
Not the character. You just wanted to say that.
No, he'll get love from Spooge. It's
That's right.
Oh, good redirect. That's one thing that actually got in my head, though, too, because we see Jimmy in Breaking Bad, and he seems to be just fine in the courthouses. Not nearly, and maybe it's just perception. He doesn't care if these people love him, and he still gets to do his job. But I kept thinking while he was there alone, I was like, how are they going to actually get him to work, or how does he continue to have a relationship with everybody in the court at this point? Like, he can have a career, but he won't get anything done. So, like, I'm wondering what the turn is. How does that relationship between he and those people, not that they like him again, but that how they get it to work again?
Well, my feeling would be that he goes about doing shit in the underhanded way anyway. So it's not necessarily that they work with him in any sense, but he has dirty workarounds. He'll take the shortcut and find a way to get around what they won't do.
He's probably got blackmail on a few people.
So he'll lean in. He'll double down.
It's also been several years. There's new people in the courthouse. The same people don't stay there forever. People come in and go out. So not everybody knows who he is and what he's done in the past. Because you got to remember, this was like 3.5 years later when we see him in Breaking Bad. So.
In the teaser for the next episode, they also showed that he rehired his assistant, I think it was.
Francesca,
right. So that maybe,
secretary.
maybe she handles all that.
Yeah, but she's his secretary at the office. I don't know if she does stuff at the courthouse for him. So my feeling is, there's the same people are not at the courthouse at 3.5 years later. And people have forgotten and like, this is who Jimmy is. And he's probably done worse shit since then. He just does dirty workarounds if they don't do what he wants them to do. One of the other things I loved is how oblivious Howard is to what he's doing. Like, talk about the narcissist who moves the cone. He just walks right past, doesn't even look at where he's parked or anything. I just thought that was hilarious.
Didn't notice the giant yellow lines he's walking across.
When he got in his car and it like didn't start for a couple of seconds, I was like, oh shit. He figured something out, but then it started right up and he drove out. Close call, but they did it. They pulled it off.
And there was no mess up with the number 4 and 5, which I was
I was
really
so
worried
wrong about that.
But you know what's funny? On second watch, you notice these dumb things. I know it's for TV. Nobody holds their keys. So it's like Jimmy's holding the keys. He's walking. You have the background shot of him walking like he's styling as Howard, right? But he held the key by the other end to show off the dangly fob, the key fob. I thought that was such a strange thing for somebody to do, but I know that it's for televisions to show that he has the thing in his hand. So, but like, you notice these things that nobody does, and it just kind of gets in your head. Like, what? Who holds keys like that? Strange.
He does.
me. I hold my keys like that. How dare you judge me?
Right.
I'm Bridget. Hi. I hold my keys by
my keys like this.
I never lose them too.
Do you think 88 Erickson intentionally spread the word about Jimmy? And did she embellish it? Because I'm sure people know Jimmy is a little shady, but all of a sudden they just believe the absolute worst about him. Everybody that he's talked to, everybody that he's worked with for the past, year or whatever, isn't that like confidential information? I mean, is that something 88 Erickson could just go spread around? I thought it was a little odd that everybody just automatically believed the worst about Jimmy. Nobody said, hey, this is what's been said about you. Do you have anything to say about it? Or anything like that. Like, everybody just automatically shunned him.
She made it clear that Jimmy was representing Lalo, a.k.a. de Guzman, and then told everybody about the bail, or was it just the Lalo reveal?
I think the Lalo reveal is enough, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, it would be, but I think that would, besides de Guzman actually being Lalo, it would be public knowledge that Saul is who Saul is representing, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's not really a secret. But for her to be like, oh, it wasn't really him, it was actually this guy. See, that, I mean, we know it's true, but technically it's speculation.
But I think that was confirmed by like the FBI or something, because some group, like organization in the US is looking for him and is connected that he is Lalo, I thought.
I think it was the FBI.
Yeah, there's some brief mention,
or DEA or
something. About how
that it was confirmed, not just like, these two guys look an awful lot like, we think it's him.
Maybe that's the answer to the question I was thinking of, like how it's possible that Jimmy can even work in this town again. But then I was thinking, okay, if he does lean into this life, then everybody knows that he's the Salamanca lawyer. And if that's the case, they wise up. But maybe they're hoping right now to reach Jimmy McGill, and he kind of crumples under the weight of people not loving him or not accepting him as a lawyer, let's say. But maybe if he leans into Saul Goodman, then they kind of wise up, like, oh, I don't want to piss off Saul Goodman too much.
I actually struggled with why they were so angry at him. I struggled with the whole idea because I was like, this doesn't even make sense, like in regards to the storyline, because in my mind, I was like, he just made that county $7 million.
Yeah.
What are people so pissed
that money
about?
Really came in.
Like, I was like, the guy is gone and you got $7 million.
They're mad because he did that by scamming the judge and scamming the court, which he did because he gave him a fake address. He had the fake family there. It's not like he just used everyday regular tactics to get Lalo out. He actually did scam everybody.
But doesn't that just go to prove that they didn't do their due diligence? Those are their witnesses too. They didn't bother to check their address.
Well, I mean, it was a bail hearing though. It wasn't like a trial. It was just a bail hearing. I don't know if there's I don't know enough about the legal world to know if, what the burden of proof is in like a fucking bail hearing and actual
Well, not
trial.
for the bail, but like you would already start research, I feel like, into the going to trial.
I would think before a prisoner is released, even on bail, they would verify the address that they're going to.
Well, actually, yeah. And you know what? That would be the prosecutor's job, too. So he didn't do his job.
Right.
And so they're shifting the blame on Jimmy instead.
But it is extra crummy. Like,
I mean,
he's
yeah,
doing
he did
extra
shitty
scummy
shit.
stuff.
Right. Instead
Right.
of using legal loopholes, he's actually going outside the law, essentially. Or, he was pushed into going outside the law.
Like Oakley said, there's proof and then there's knowing. We can't prove that you did it, but we know you did it.
We're going to make your life hard.
It just is weird to me that they all immediately jumped to being mad, to believing the worst about Jimmy. She can't prove that Jimmy knew that he was Lalo. He thought it was Wanda Guzman. So for her to go and tell everybody in the courthouse that, he knew this guy was Lalo, but not have any proof, is that something she could do legally without having the proof that
Actually, no.
that he...
So she does the same thing. So wait a second. Hold on. So she does the same thing in reverse to him, which kind of just goes to show that people are people, A. But we have to remember the conversation she tried to have with Kim earlier.
Do you think everybody's mad because he did it or because he got away with it?
Yes.
Like, how many people are like, damn, I should have thought of that.
I feel like Oakley's a straight shooter, and I believe he was genuinely offended that
Yeah.
Jimmy scammed the court. I believe there are a few of them in there that are genuinely offended that Jimmy would do that. But most of them are probably just mad that he got away with it.
Well, and it makes you feel like, I guess you guys really didn't like him all that much to begin with. To be able to flip like that, like so quickly. Like, it's like, well, you had to have had something against him in the first place, which all of you made it very clear that you weren't friends with him. But I felt like there was always like this mutual respect of like, oh, yeah, this is the guy who's like going to work the system. Like, that's what I felt. So I was a little disappointed that they were so quick to
He's
turn
always
on.
had a taint on him from Chuck. He's always carried this slight taint on his name because of Chuck and then Howard. Plus, he got disbarred for a year. So maybe that makes people a little more disposed to believe the worst about him.
Yeah, that's probably true.
And he has pulled other stunts. Remember the one when he had the guy who testified about the guy that robbed the store? And he's like, yeah, it's that guy sitting right there. And Jimmy's like, no, it's not. You're my client sitting back there, So
I mean,
he's already got a
great
reputation
move.
for pulling shady stuff.
Yeah.
So
That was smart, though.
I
That was
love
smart.
But that was like within the
Clearly
law.
an uncredible witness. Yeah,
You know?
clearly an
Right,
uncredible
right.
witness.
yeah, he's already got a reputation for doing shady shit. So that just kind of lent itself to people automatically believing it.
I know that we've seen her before, but it bears mentioning that because since we're only just starting this podcast, the clerk, I think it is played by Nadine Marissa, who is Nabila on The Walking Dead, in case you missed it.
Another Walking Dead connection.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Because she was in prior seasons.
Wow.
But
She looks so different when she's not smiling.
Yeah.
and she has makeup and glasses.
And the big old Sally Jesse Raphael glasses.
So, speaking of her, the Beanie Baby that Saul
God.
tries to give her is
No opposable thumbs.
is in the box of stuff that's labeled no value in the opening. In the season opening.
Our
Nicely done.
Beanie Baby collections are worthless.
Sweet
God.
angel baby beanie
No
babies.
value.
Oh, God. It hurts.
There's also a little pile of Beanie Babies. As they pan through, there's a little pile of Beanie Babies on the table, and then they pan into the box, and then there's the owl Beanie Baby is in the box. There's another thing in there, too. It's a little black book.
The first episode opener, right?
As they pan across after the Beanie Babies, there's a guy who opens up a black book and kind of flips through the pages, and there's a couple of spots where you can freeze frame it, but I couldn't get a good enough quality shot to read what was on it. But what I'm thinking is, Kim, and when she comes out of the diner and goes up to the guys that are following her, she takes out a little black book and is writing stuff down in it. So I'm wondering if that is the same book that's in the box. So our second Breaking Bad cameo is Spooge.
Spooge.
Spooge is everywhere in this episode.
Yeah. So Spooge, of course, is the meth head that Jesse, I forget why he goes to their house, but Jesse goes to their house and they've left this little boy there alone. So Jesse's playing peekaboo with the kid and trying to feed him and stuff. And the parents come home and they have a cash machine that they're trying to break into. And Spooge keeps calling his girlfriend or wife, whatever, skank. And she's like, I'm not a skank. So finally, he's up under the cash machine trying to break into it. He's like, "You skank!" And she goes, "I told you I'm not a skank." And she pushes it down and crushes his head.
Bye-bye,
Hashtag
Spooge.
justice for Spooge. Who do you think Spooge is with? Right, his client.
Spooge and friend.
Spooge and Co.
I'm afraid to know what his name is. In that scene, as Jimmy is escorting his shady ass clients into the back, it cuts immediately to Kim escorting her good clients out of the restaurant. I just thought that was a neat cut.
Crossroads.
From the El Camino diner. So she finally gets to meet Mike. I loved this scene so much.
So well shot.
This scene was Ray Seahorn talked about it on the Insider podcast, and this was originally supposed to be shot outside. She wanted to do a scene that mimicked one of her favorite scenes from the movie Heat with Robert De Niro and Amy Brenneman, where they focus on one person and then slide the camera over, and they wanted to do that outside, but for different various reasons, noise, location, the fact that where they wanted to shoot didn't look anything like the outside of the diner that they were supposed to be standing outside of. So they ended up doing it inside, which still worked. It was still great.
Worked really well. Jimmy earlier says to Kim that she uses the expression of the wicked flee when no man pursueth. And Jimmy's just saying, Kim immediately jumps to, you think we're wicked? She already has it in her head that she's doing something wrong. So there's like this duality of like, I know I'm doing something wrong, but I can't help myself. And so it doesn't help her. And Jimmy's like just trying to tell her, hey, if you were doing something wrong, you'd be afraid. You're not doing anything crazy. You're fine. Well, what? But it doesn't reassure. Clearly, it doesn't reassure her. Mike has a mirror conversation with her in that respect. She's fearful. He's giving her everything to be fearful of. But then at the end, he kind of says, you're made of sterner stuff. Jimmy and Mike are telling her the exact same thing. And she's still kind of afraid, but the show needs to tell you twice that these two people who of kind of like loyal hearts. I mean, I kind of consider Mike on the good side of things. And so like both people tell her this thing and she's still afraid, clearly. I think it makes her feel better when Mike says it, kind of reassures her that you are made of sterner stuff. But she's still kind of realizing that, kind of like on the heels of our conversation about like, what's Kim going to do with Jimmy in the end? It just keeps making me think like, you're right. What is she going to do in the end? And then being told that she's made of sterner stuff, what is she going to end up choosing?
I just have the feeling that she's going to take it too far eventually is how I feel. And somehow that's going to be the breaking point between them. Simply because everybody's always assumed it's Jimmy, that Jimmy became Saul on his own or whatever. And I really firmly believe that Kim is going to be his breaking point. And I guess she's going to get over feeling like she's evil or whatever she ends up doing. Maybe she doesn't feel like it's evil. I don't know. But I feel like she's going to be the straw between them.
Are you guys just like me in thinking that at any point in time, Kim can walk away? And it's in some ways frustrating to watch her struggle with all this because she's been given what she's wanted on silver platter, even further. And yet she may end up choosing, maybe because of Mike, she has permission now to continue down this path.
Yeah, when we were covering 602, I asked you guys if Kimmy thought Jim was weak. Do you feel that she does after this week?
Well, she failed to share some pretty critical information with him, so yes.
Ding, ding,
I
ding, ding,
feel like she really does think that now.
I don't know if I'm quite there yet. I'm trying to think of other reasons why she wouldn't tell Jimmy that Lalo's alive. I don't know how not telling him would be protecting him in any way. Because I also don't see Jimmy like freaking out. If he found out Lalo were alive, he might just be like, okay, well, shit, we need to like go back to the hotel and live there for a few days. I don't know. I don't know.
Wait, hold on a second. Do you think maybe in the back of her mind, she's keeping it from him because she thinks he already knows that he's alive? And maybe this is another, I know, I'm just kind of throwing it out there because it could be that like she's testing him again. Like, oh, is he going to tell me that he's alive? When is he going to tell me? Oh, I already know, Jimmy. I don't know. It hadn't occurred to me till you said it.
I guess it could be possible, since Jimmy just did all this bullshit for Lalo anyway, that it's possible Lalo could have reached out to Jimmy and been like, hey, I don't know why he would.
No, I mean, right. But like, for all Kim knows, right? Because Jimmy's lied to her before and kept things from her before. So it could be that Kim has this in her pocket to see if Jimmy's going to fess up and finally tell her. Kim is not stupid. She's always felt like he's been keeping things from her. Every time he's lied to her, she knows.
Well, this could just be her like giving him a little jab back too. Like I know something that you don't. But it's far more dangerous for him not to know.
But that's
Let me back
why I
up.
think she keeps it from him.
But Mike made it pretty clear that both her and Jimmy are being followed.
Right.
So she knows that Jimmy's being protected, even though he doesn't know it. So I guess maybe she doesn't have to be quite as concerned about his safety because he's got eyes on him all the
That's
time.
a great point. You should know my guys are behind you. So maybe it's for the best that Jimmy doesn't know.
Because then he can really act like they're not there because he really doesn't know.
Also, like, she might worry that telling him about Lalo being alive will send him back into the bad place that he was right there for a while. And they're in the middle of this scam. She cannot afford to have Jimmy distracted and lose his shit worrying about Lalo. But I
Yeah.
really do feel that she feels that Jimmy is a little weak, and that is why she's not being fully honest with him. She feels that he just cannot handle it, and Mike kind of validated that feeling for her when he said that she was made of sterner stuff. I like that it was just a regular toilet and not a golden toilet sitting in the middle of the office. Speaking of which, our third Breaking Bad cameo is The Office, the famous Saul Goodman strip mall
The Office.
office. That's right.
So much personality.
Complete.
The Office.
Complete with toilet sitting in the middle of it. You were talking about the scene where Kim and Jimmy were on the bed together and he was telling her the story about pulling the
Ripping up
sign
the
up and
sign.
everything. So this is a direct parallel to Cobbler when she sat on the bed and they were eating and she said, I don't ever want to hear anything about these things again after he told her about fabricating evidence. So this is a direct mirror to that, where now she's sitting on the bed eating and he's telling her all about the scam he was running today.
And she loves
She's
it.
laughing. Yep.
She's lapping it up too.
So this was some information from Ray on the Insider podcast. There are several pieces of her art inside Kim's apartment. Of course, the ones we all know about are the bird paintings above the bed, but she also has some that are hidden that, like, she's like, you guys will never see it, but they're there. And one of them is a drawing that she did of a woman laying on a bed, and that is the pose that she used in that scene. Was the same pose that's on that drawing. It's on a shelf between the living room and the bedroom as you walk through. She also requested that there be no personal pictures of Kim in the house with her mom or with her dad or anything like that, and that was a choice from Macy.
Makes sense, though. That seems like a very Kim decision.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like she didn't really have the best home life. I think it was something about her mother and what she did to her or something. I can't remember the exact story she told last
She was
season.
a drunk. They had to move from place to place all the time, one step ahead of the landlord. And then they had the opener with young Kim where she was standing outside in the snow waiting for her mom. And her mom came and she was drunk. And Kim walked home.
This is what gets me to thinking that, Sharon, you might be right about her leaning into her Breaking Bad moment. Cliff Main mentions his son has a drug problem, which raised my hackles about the possibility of Kim maybe exploiting this at some point in the future. Of course, it's mentioned in the context of, like, this is the thing that gets her to have this position where they can rehabilitate people. But then I thought to myself, but what if she ends up using this in some fashion to get what she wants? From such a decent kind of guy, essentially, too. So, did you guys think that at all when you heard that?
I didn't. I mean, I really didn't. But that's a good point because I can see her getting to that point. Or maybe not her doing it, but getting Jimmy to do it.
Ooh.
If she just, like, says it out loud, Jimmy will eat that shit up and spin it into a plan.
He'd have to go through the looking glass, really, for him to be able to do that. Because it seems like you said, until now, he's been, I mean, even still, he still hasn't gone full evil, quote unquote, where he doesn't have any qualms about manipulating people. Like, he's still kind of like, I'm on the fence-ish. I'm enjoying this, but I don't see him reveling in it yet.
I feel like at first Chuck was a restraint on him doing that. And I think right now Kim is a slight restraint, but I don't think that's going to last. I think she's going to open up the floodgates.
Oh,
full
she's the
force for him.
guardrails.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like
she's the bumpers in the bowling alley right now. Kim.
Right.
Right now.
And he's
For
about to
Jimmy.
go bumperless, and Kim's about to open the gates for him to. I mean, she's going to push him into it. Is I just feel like she's going to be the one to push him into it, to over the edge, to being fully on Saul.
Right. Whether it's on purpose or...
It's going to break my heart when it happens, but...
The only other thing I wanted to mention, because I'm a computer guy, is how I love how accurate the LED screens were in the monitoring station for Fring's house. It was like perfect era LCD screens. The old Dell curved, clunky LCD screens. But here's the thing. LCD screens weren't like typical of the era. So those, and this is just me, they're super, super expensive around that time. So you can tell, like, obviously Fring is well off. It's like the highest technology of the time. And a lot of them, which is not typical for the time. You may have had one, maybe two if you were rich and like a stockbroker.
In like 2005?
Yeah, in 2005. I still had a CRT screen in 2005. That's how.
I guess I don't speak computer. I don't. All of that was gibberish to me. I don't.
Like a
like
tube
the old
TV. Is that what
yeah,
you're
exactly.
saying? Like,
You never had one of those tube monitors, the CRT monitors, as a
a
computer?
box one.
A boxy
like
monitor.
one of those big ass look like
I had
a
a
little
gateway.
TV.
Yeah. So them having those LCD screens was top notch for the time.
But I had a gateway in like 1998, not 2005.
This goes to show. That was my Dave Talks Technology for the day.
I was so glad to have a funny episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, hysterical.
Needed it.
I'm going to say what I said after our initial reactions. I am extremely disappointed that someone did not take Michael Mando's name out of the credits. And my heart just about leapt out of my chest when I saw his name in the beginning. And like, I just waited, like every moment, every scene change. I'm like, maybe here.
I feel like his name's gonna be there for the rest of the season, and you're just gonna do
It
this.
shouldn't
every
be, though.
time.
It shouldn't be. They need to take his name out of the credits because my stomach goes up into my throat every time.
Maybe that's like a story device. They do that on purpose so you don't forget. Oh.
Oh, who's gonna forget?
No. Well, I mean, you could be accused of forgetting, but they won't let you.
I flashed back to after we lost Glenn on The Walking Dead, and like the next episode, his name was gone from the credits, and that made me cry all over again. Yeah.
See, they did wrong. See, they did right now. So
Well,
you damn
no,
if
I
you do
mean,
it, you damn if you
it
don't.
But it was confirmed he was not coming back. When I saw Michael Mando's name, I'm like, and okay, to be honest, I thought, okay, maybe like a flashback scenario, right? Like I didn't at that moment. I didn't think he was still alive until later in the episode.
Well, and that might happen before the end of the season, which might be why his name is still in the credits. Or it could have been a contract thing that he's like, you're still going to pay me for the rest of the season, even though you wrote off my character. Because, AMC inked all those contracts with Walking Dead people about how they were going to, for the 3 years or whatever. So maybe they did that with Michael Mando too. I don't know.
It could just be in honor of his performance too. I mean, really, he deserves a title credit. I mean, if he's not going to get an award, right? I don't know.
I'm just going to hold out hope that we see him again before the end of the season,
I could see
a
a flashback thing happening. I could see that happening.
Yeah. I would be
Again.
so fine with that.
Yeah.
Howard started talking to his therapist about this dream he had, and look, again, with the wife, quote unquote, you don't know. Maybe he's not married. Who knows? But maybe he was filling time for his therapist for some odd reason. Who knows? But let's just assume that he's being legit for a sec. What do you think his dream means? He's basically helping an old man get to his airport gate, and he's trying to read the ticket for him, trying to take him to the right gate, and yet he's looking at the ticket and he realizes that he can't read, or he can't even read the signs because it's a dream. And then I thought to myself, like, okay, this is what gave me a little credence.
Can't read the signs.
He's
That's
helping
it right
Chuck
there.
to his inevitable death.
Oh, I was thinking he can't see the signs that are right in front of him that Jimmy's fucking his shit up right now.
Exactly. That's kind of where I wanted to go. And he's too narcissistic to actually even see that that's what the dream means, let's say. But then also, like, there's just on the face of it, he's trying to help an old man, a good gesture to do. And yet he too is helpless. And so I feel like whatever Jimmy and Kim are up to, he's going to fall for it hook, line, and sinker. But the outcome may even be worse than Jimmy and Kim even imagined, which is typical for the Breaking Bad universe. So.
Yeah, I could see that. The thing that they're doing doesn't even involve Howard falling for anything. It's Cliff. They need Cliff to fall for it and believe all this stuff about Howard so that there's repercussions to that. Like, if it's coming from Cliff, Howard, I don't know how he doesn't suspect Jimmy. Or maybe he does and just, like, he's like, what the fuck can I do about it? Like, how do I, but...
I have to think that part of Jimmy and Kim's plan involves Howard figuring out that it's them doing it. Because they're not stupid either. And they know that Howard isn't stupid. But, on the other hand, we've personally seen how fucking oblivious Howard actually is. Because like we were talking about him walking out, he's just oblivious.
On the heels of him being oblivious, maybe he catches wind of something. Maybe what the unintended outcome of Jim and Kimmy is that Howard breaks bad eventually after being fucked with, which would be very interesting.
That would be fun.
And
Howard
you know what?
turns into Wendy.
Oh, I want them to be together now. Fuck Cheryl. Fuck. See, you guys were defending Cheryl at first. What a good note to end on.
Cheryl's a saint.
And Wendy's kind of sweet too. Like, you notice, like, near the end of it, it's kind of sweet moment between she and Kim.
She's
sweet.
cracked out of her mind.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's gross. Ugh.
So if you're gonna rate this podcast, all we need is 5 stars and a case of root beer.
Yes. Case of root beer.
I'm just trying to get a root beer. I already put 2 quarters in.
I'll get you a whole case of root beer already. But yes, if you like what you heard, head over to ratethispodcast.com/squawkingdead. 5 stars and eggplant or root beer is all we need to let us know that you love us. But if you really like what we're doing, you can always head over to ko-fi.com/squawkingdead and just follow us. You don't need to buy us a coffee or a tip or a donation.
Do buy me a root beer, though.
Yes, they are
do that.
delicious.
Yeah, do that.
Or cream
And
soda if you
don't
really
move the
like us.
cones.
And
Yeah.
Don't move cones.
Exactly. All you got to do is follow us. But if you feel interested in joining one of our recording sessions or getting the unedited version of this podcast, which you're going to want to do for this one, you can either tip us or buy us a coffee and get 30 days of access to our supporter back content, or you can join a membership tier for as little as $1 a month and get all that at the base level for absolutely free year round for only $12 a year. Which includes Discord access, so you can talk to us about the things you loved and what you didn't like, and the things in the episodes that you really liked, the episodes of Better Call Saul, and then also the Walking Dead universe as well. So with that, you guys do the outro.
I'm Bridget, and this has been...
Hi, I'm Bridget. Thanks for watching. Wait, I'm Rachel.
You're not Bridget. That's really weird. Speedy confusion for you.
I'm Saul Goodman. I fight for you.
You were joined by hosts Sharon D, aka Blaze Gardner, Rachel, Cosmom09, Rachel Burt, and Bridget. I'm Bridget, ex-prophecy girl on Twitter.
Peace. I mean, peace.
Or better call
Dave,
Bridget.
This is for the rest of you.
I want pancakes. Oh, sweet angel baby Dave.
That's the new peace sign.
Yeah.
Peace.
Happy Cinco
Peace.
de Drinko to you folks. Have a good one. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't move the cones.